In the year 2245, humanity had spread across the stars, establishing thriving colonies on distant planets. They built a strong interstellar federation, uniting diverse worlds with the hope of peace and prosperity. People lived and worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. But one morning everything changed. A powerful alien race, the Zetharians, launched a surprise attack. Their ships were massive and intimidating, with dark metal surfaces and glowing red lights. They aimed to conquer the human colonies, believing that humans were weak and unprepared. The news of the invasion spread like wildfire, filling every home with fear. In a small command center on the planet Orion 3, Commander Alara Morgan paced nervously. She was a respected leader, known for her quick thinking and bravery. Her team had gathered to discuss the looming threat. "We cannot let them take our colonies," she said firmly. "We must fight back!" The room was filled with young officers, each eager to prove themselves. Among them was Jake, a fresh pilot with a passion for adventure. He had always dreamed of flying in space battles, but he never thought it would happen like this. "What can we do?" he asked, his voice steady despite the fear bubbling inside him. Ilara looked around the room, meeting the eyes of her crew. "We have been preparing for this," she replied. "Our scientists have developed new weapons and tactics. We can use our small ships to our advantage. Speed and surprise will be key." The crew nodded, their determination growing. They knew they had to act quickly. As the aliens advanced, time was running out. Ilara made a decision. "We will launch a counterattack tonight. Gather all pilots and prepare the ships." Word spread through the base and excitement filled the air. Soldiers practiced their drills and engineers worked tirelessly to ensure everything was ready. Jake joined his fellow pilots, who shared stories and laughter, trying to ease the tension. But deep down, everyone felt the weight of the moment. They were about to fight for their homes and families. As night fell, the fleet gathered in the launch bay. Ilara stood before her crew, her heart racing. "Tonight, we show the Zetharians what humanity is made of," she said, her voice strong and inspiring. "We fight for our freedom, for our families, and for each other. We will not back down." Cheers erupted from the pilots, filling them with courage. One by one, they boarded their sleek ships, feeling the adrenaline pumping through their veins. Jake climbed into his cockpit, adjusting his seat and checking his controls. The lights flickered on, and the ship hummed to life. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves. The fleet soared into the starry sky, the vastness of space stretching before them. The Zetharian ships loomed ahead, dark shadows against the bright stars. Jake's heart raced as he felt the weight of the moment. They were outnumbered, but he remembered Ilara's words. They had the element of surprise on their side. As they approached the enemy, Ilara's voice crackled over the comms. "Stay focused. Remember your training. We attack together." The pilots formed into tight formations, their ships moving like a school of fish. The Zetharians spotted them too late. With a swift command, Ilara led the charge, and the humans unleashed their weapons. Bright beams of energy shot through the darkness, striking the alien ships. For a moment, chaos erupted. Explosions lit up the night sky as ships danced around each other. Jake maneuvered his craft with skill, firing at the enemy. He felt the thrill of battle, the rush of adrenaline fueling his every move. "We can do this!" he shouted, filled with hope. In the heat of the fight, Ilara's voice rang out again. "Push forward! Don't give them a chance to regroup." The humans fought with everything they had, their determination unmatched. As the battle raged on, it became clear that humanity was not weak. They were fierce, united, and ready to protect their home at all costs. And in that moment, as the first victory began to unfold, they knew they were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting to show the galaxy that humanity was unstoppable. The battle was fierce, and the night sky above Orion 3 lit up with flashes of energy and explosions. Commander Ilara Morgan led her fleet with skill and bravery. The Zetharian ships were large and powerful, but the humans had a secret. They were fast, and they used their speed to their advantage. As the Zetharians regrouped, Ilara spotted an opening. "Now's our chance," she shouted through the comms. "Attack their command ship!" The human pilots responded with cheers, their spirits high. They knew this was their moment to strike. Jake tightened his grip on the controls of his ship. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "I'm right behind you, Commander!" he called out, excitement bubbling in his chest. The team formed up, and together they raced toward the massive Zetharian command ship, which was at the heart of the alien fleet. The command ship was surrounded by smaller vessels like a fortress. Ilara's plan was bold, but it was the only way to turn the tide of the battle. "Everyone focus on those small ships first," she ordered. "Take them out one by one." The pilots engaged in a deadly dance of strategy and skill. They moved in tight formations, dodging enemy fire while targeting the smaller Zetharian ships. Laser beams shot past Jake's cockpit, lighting up the darkness like shooting stars. He could hear the sounds of battle through his comms, the shouts and cheers of his fellow pilots pushing him to fight harder. With each enemy ship that fell, the humans grew bolder. Jake took aim at a Zetharian fighter that was closing in on his wingman. "I've got this one!" he shouted, firing his weapons. The shot hit its mark, and the alien ship exploded in a brilliant flash. "Yes, that's one less to worry about." Ilara's voice rang out clear and commanding. "Keep moving! We need to reach the command ship before it can call for reinforcements." The human pilots pressed forward, their resolve strengthening with every victory. As they approached the command ship, Jake noticed a gap in the Zetharian defenses. "There! We can slip through!" he exclaimed. Ilara nodded, her eyes sharp with focus. "Follow my lead!" With precision, they dodged enemy fire and flew into the gap. The command ship loomed large before them, a dark behemoth filled with the enemy's most important leaders. Jake felt a mix of fear and determination. This was it, the moment that could change everything. Ilara ordered the fleet to split into two groups. "We'll create a distraction while a small team goes in for the kill," she said. Jake volunteered to be part of the team. "I want to help," he said eagerly. Ilara looked at him, her expression serious. "All right, Jake. Stay close and watch my back." The distraction group engaged the remaining Zetharian ships, drawing their attention. With the enemy focused on the battle above, Ilara's team made their way toward the command ship. Jake's heart raced as they flew inside the massive hangar bay. Inside, chaos reigned. Zetharian soldiers rushed to their posts, surprised to see human ships. Ilara led the charge and Jake followed closely behind. "Let's take them out quickly," she shouted. The team fought bravely, using their training to gain the upper hand. Jake dodged and weaved through the chaos, taking down enemies with every shot. "We can't let them escape!" he yelled, his voice filled with adrenaline. As they fought their way deeper into the ship, they reached the control room. Ilara kicked the door open, revealing the heart of the Zetharian command. The room was filled with alien officers, all eyes wide with shock. "You can't be here!" one of them shouted, but Ilara was quick. "Take them down!" she ordered. The humans fought fiercely, taking down the surprised Zetharians one by one. In the end, they stood victorious in the command room, panting but alive. With the command ship captured, Ilara sent a signal to the rest of the fleet. "We did it! The command ship is ours!" Cheers erupted through the comms. The tide of battle had turned, and humanity had scored their first victory against the Zetharians. As they flew back to join their fleet, Jake felt a wave of pride wash over him. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not weak. They were strong, brave, and unstoppable. This victory was just the beginning, and they were ready to face whatever came next. The battle for Orion 3 ended in victory, but the war against the Zetharians was far from over. As Commander Ilara Morgan and her crew celebrated their hard-fought triumph, they knew they needed allies. News of humanity's bravery spread quickly across the galaxy, reaching other planets and races who watched the conflict with interest. In the days that followed, representatives from different alien races began to arrive at the human command center. Ilara was busy coordinating their efforts, hoping to form strong alliances. One morning, a delegation from the Draconis system arrived. They were tall, reptilian beings with shimmering scales and fierce eyes. The leader, a warrior named Talak, stepped forward with a powerful presence. "We come to fight beside you," Talak said, his voice deep and steady. "Your victory against the Zetharians has inspired us. We have faced them before, and we know their strength. Together we can defeat them." Ilara smiled, relieved and grateful. "Welcome, friends. We appreciate your support. We will need every ship and soldier we can find," she replied. The Draconis warriors nodded in agreement, ready to join the fight. With the Draconis on their side, the humans felt a renewed sense of hope. But not all the news was good. As they prepared for the next battle, whispers of dissent began to spread among the ranks. Some Zetharians were not ready to accept defeat. A faction within their empire sought revenge against humanity and planned to strike back. Late one night, Jake sat in the command center reviewing reports. The excitement of the victory had faded, replaced by a feeling of unease. He noticed Alara speaking with her top advisors. Their faces were serious, and he could sense the tension in the air. Curiosity piqued. He leaned closer to listen. "Alara, we need to address this threat before it grows," one advisor urged. "The Zetharians are regrouping, and they may launch a surprise attack." Alara nodded, her brow furrowing with concern. "I agree. We cannot underestimate them. We must act quickly." Jake's heart raced. He felt a surge of determination. "What can I do to help?" he asked, stepping forward. Alara turned to him, a flicker of appreciation in her eyes. "We need scouts to gather intel on Zetharian movements. Jake, I could use someone with your skills." Jake felt a wave of excitement. "I'm in!" The next day, Alara assigned him to a small team of scouts. Their mission was to find out what the Zetharians were planning. They left in stealth ships, flying low and avoiding detection. The team moved quickly through the stars, relying on their training and instincts. As they neared the Zetharian territory, Jake felt a mix of fear and thrill. They approached a massive Zetharian base, hidden among asteroid fields. "There it is," one of his teammates whispered. "We need to be careful." Using advanced scanning equipment, they began to gather data. To their surprise, they discovered a large gathering of Zetharian ships preparing for war. "They're planning something big," Jake said, his voice tense. "We need to report this back to Alara immediately." Just then, an alarm blared. "They've detected us!" another scout shouted. Panic erupted in the ship. "We have to go! Now!" Jake piloted the ship with skill, weaving through the asteroids as Zetharian fighters chased them. "Hold on!" he yelled, his heart pounding. The enemy fire zipped past them, barely missing their ship. They could hear the distant explosions as the Zetharians attacked the asteroids, trying to destroy their escape route. With quick thinking, Jake spotted a narrow canyon between the asteroids. "We can hide in there," he shouted. The team agreed, and he dove into the canyon, the ship's engines roaring. They flew through the tight space, narrowly avoiding the walls. As they reached the other side, the Zetharians lost sight of them. "We did it!" One of the scouts cheered, relief washing over them. They quickly made their way back to the command center. Alara was waiting, her expression serious. "What did you find?" she asked as they landed. Jake stepped forward, breathless. "They're gathering a massive fleet. They plan to attack soon." Ilara's face hardened. "We must prepare. We will not let them take our victory away. We will stand together, humans and our new allies, to face this threat head-on." With a new sense of urgency, Alara began to rally the troops, uniting humans and Draconis warriors. They would be ready. Together, they would show the Zetharians that humanity, now with friends at their side, was truly unstoppable. The tension in the command center was thick as Commander Alara Morgan stood before her assembled fleet. The time for battle had come. The Zetharians, emboldened by their plan for revenge, were ready to strike. Intelligence reports indicated they were amassing a fleet larger than any humanity had ever faced. Alara knew they had to act quickly and decisively. "Listen up, everyone!" Ilara's voice rang out, cutting through the noise of the command center. "We've trained for this moment. We've already proven that we can defeat the Zetharians, but this time will be different. They won't underestimate us again." Jake stood among his fellow pilots, his heart pounding with anticipation. He could feel the excitement and fear in the air. This was it, the final showdown. He glanced at his friends, each one determined to fight for their home and their newfound allies. Alara continued, "We will use our speed and teamwork to outmaneuver their larger ships. Our Draconis allies will provide cover fire while we focus on taking out their command ship. If we destroy their leadership, we can disrupt their entire fleet." The room erupted in cheers. "For humanity," someone shouted. "For freedom," echoed another voice. The fighters felt a surge of confidence as they prepared for the battle ahead. As night fell, the human and Draconis fleets launched into space, a wave of ships glinting under the stars. Jake sat in the cockpit of his fighter, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. He took a deep breath, reminding himself of Alara's words. They had trained for this. As they approached the Zetharian territory, the massive enemy fleet came into view, a dark cloud of ships looming in the distance. "Steady," Alara instructed over the comms. "Remember your training. Stay in formation. The first volley of fire erupted from the Zetharian ships, bright flashes illuminating the void of space. Jake and his squadron weaved through the enemy fire, narrowly dodging laser beams. "Let's show them what we're made of," Jake yelled, feeling the adrenaline rush through him. The humans struck first, launching a coordinated attack on the Zetharian flanks. Ilara led the charge, her ship darting in and out of enemy fire like a dancer. They were quick and strategic, targeting smaller ships to create openings. The Draconis warriors provided support, their powerful ships firing from the rear. "Jake, cover my 6!" Ilara commanded as she flew toward a Zetharian destroyer. Jake quickly maneuvered his ship into position behind hers. Together, they unleashed a barrage of firepower, targeting the ship's engines. With a final shot, the destroyer erupted in a brilliant explosion. "Nice work," Ilara cheered. "Let's keep pushing forward." As the battle intensified, the Zetharian command ship began to launch its smaller fighters. The sky filled with enemy ships, each one eager to defend their leader. "This is going to be tough," Jake muttered, his hands steady on the controls. "Stick together," Ilara called out. "We can do this!" The human pilots fought valiantly, taking out one enemy ship after another. But the Zetharians were relentless, and their numbers seemed endless. Just when it felt like the tide was turning, a sudden explosion rocked the human fleet. "Jake, look out!" a voice shouted over the comms. Jake barely had time to react as a Zetharian fighter barreled toward him. He twisted his ship to the side, feeling the rush of wind as the enemy flew past him. "Stay sharp, everyone!" Ilara's voice cut through the chaos. "We're almost there!" With renewed determination, Jake focused on the command ship. They had to end this once and for all. "Let's go for it," he shouted to his team. "We have to take down their command ship." Jake led the charge toward the Zetharian command ship. Ilara flew beside him, and together they avoided enemy fire, racing toward their target. The command ship loomed large, its defenses blazing. But they pushed through, weaving in and out, their skills shining. Finally, they reached the command ship's core. "Now!" Ilara shouted. "Fire!" With all their strength, they unleashed a barrage of firepower. Explosions rocked the command ship as the humans targeted its weak points. With a final, powerful shot, the core exploded, sending shockwaves through the Zetharian fleet. As the command ship crumbled, chaos erupted among the Zetharians. Ships began to retreat, their morale shattered. The humans and Draconis warriors cheered, celebrating their hard-fought victory. Jake felt a rush of triumph as he flew through the debris. They had done it! They had faced the Zetharians and emerged victorious. In that moment, he knew they had proven something important. Not just to their enemies, but to themselves. Together, they were unstoppable,